Shalom. First, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the venerable apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. All right, today we're just gonna go straight into it. All right, I just wanted to, get into this this thing, which I'm pretty sure some brothers have brought it out before, but in this day and age, I feel it's very, very important that we get more into these things that are yet to happen here in America, Babylon. Okay, this thing called Rex 84, okay, which is short for the readiness exercise of 1984. Okay, and it goes into different things that the U.S. government has planned in the terms of, or in the times of emergency, how to control the population. Okay, and there are two subplots or two sub-programs that they have, which is known as Operation Cable Splicer and Operation Garden Plot. Okay, so those two we're gonna get into, and then we're also gonna get into the executive orders that have been signed into place, that in case of an emergency or whatnot, they can just go right into, they can kick it into gear and get FEMA to do whatever it needs to do. Okay, which will be what? The suspension of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Okay, and then kick into action with executive orders. Okay, which is all going to lead into what? Martial law. Okay, we've been talking about martial law for so long, but the signs are showing, and lately with this whole thing with Antifa, okay, which is anti-fascist movement, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, they've sprung up again. Okay, I believe 2 years ago, two to 3 years ago, they were on the come up. All right, and then everything kind of died down after Trump became president, and now they're kind of like rising back up again. Okay, as we head towards the election thing happening next year, that like they think will happen. Okay, but the government, the U.S. government, has a lot of things in place to ensure that they continue to maintain power and control over the people in the case of an emergency or in a time of chaos. Okay, and Lord willing, this is gonna shed some light on these things that they have planned, and people could get ready. Okay, now we're gonna get right into this. It says this might be long, but bear with me. Okay, we're gonna do this to the best of our ability here. Okay, it says there are over 800 prison camps in the United States, all fully operational and ready to rock. They are all staffed and even surrounded by full-time guards, but they are all empty. These camps are to be operated by FEMA, which is Federal Emergency Management Agency, should martial law need to be implemented in the United States, and all it would take is a presidential signature or a proclamation, and the Attorney General's signature on a warrant to which a list of names is attached. Okay? Now, you need to understand that Obama, when he was in power, he signed a lot of executive orders. Okay? And when Trump came into power, he's signing a lot of executive orders as well. Okay, so what does that mean? They're setting everything up so when the time comes, it's going to be easy to just click on the button and just let things rock, let things go. Okay? Now, we're in July, and back in February, Trump declared a national emergency. Okay, till today he hasn't claimed anything or changed that concept of America being in a national emergency. We are still under a national emergency. Okay, so with that being said, it leads me to think through the spirit that something big is coming, and they purposely put that national emergency back in February to keep the people docile, because back in February, you have March, you have April, May, June, and nothing really big is going on. People tend to feel relaxed. They tend to even forget that, hey, we are in a national emergency. Okay, but little did you know that these are all things that, like my brother was talking about earlier, some time ago, about something called gradualism. Okay, when it's basically going back to the boiling frog theory. Okay, where you start off something very little, and then as you go, as time goes, you start to escalate things little by little. So the changes are not really felt as drastically as if it were to happen on a 0 to 100 level. You know, if you go step by step, people are not really going to see the difference until they step back and look and see, wow, look, damn, look at all these changes that's happened, you know? And then as time goes on, the people tend to accept whatever it is that you're trying to impose on them with time. Okay? Now, let's get right into it. Let's keep going. It says, the Rex 84 program was established on the reasoning that if a mass exodus, okay, of illegal aliens crossed the Mexican-US border, they would quickly be rounded up and detained in detention centers by FEMA. Now, isn't that what we're seeing today? This lady, Alexandra, I don't know her, Alexandra Cortez, that chick. Okay, she's the one who's bringing out this whole thing about how the border, the U.S.-Mexico border, has a lot of detention centers, man. They calling it FEMA camps. They calling it detention centers. They calling it concentration camps. They calling it death camps. Okay, you got a lot of Northern Kingdom, Northern tribes up in there, man. People are dying over there. That's what they're saying. Okay, and it's not hard to believe. Okay, but you need to understand that these are all tests to see if the equipments that they have and how the people are going to react, you know, everything is in order. Because once they enact martial law, because very soon, what the government plans to do is very soon they're going to shut everything down, and they have executive orders to follow in case of things like that happening. They'll be able to control the masses, man. It's called, there's something called government readiness. Government continuity. Okay, government continuity, meaning that in case of an emergency, the government doesn't stop operating, man. They have plans in place that the government is still going to keep going, but just in a different way. Okay, so they have everything in place, man, and people are not paying attention to these things, man. Everything that's happening now, they have their hands in it. Okay, and it's only going to get worse. Why do you think they're so hard on building this wall? Okay, this wall that Trump is pushing so hard to build is because they want to keep everyone inside. And as I read, you're gonna get an understanding of why they want to keep everybody inside. It's all about control. Okay, and they're gonna torture the people who are gonna be kept inside here, man. Okay, America is about to turn into a huge FEMA camp. Okay, and then they're gonna turn on you people, man. You trust your government so damn much. Okay, you ever seen the Hunger Games? Yeah, that's gonna be real life. Okay, your life is about to be a Hunger Game. All right, hunger, because the famine is coming. Okay, and it's gonna be a game to you. It's gonna be a game to the government, man. They're gonna be playing games with you, man. Okay. All right. Continue. It says, Rex 84 allowed many military bases to be closed down and turned into prisons. Now you got to sit back and ask yourself this: why would they be building detention centers? Why would they be building, turning military bases and closing them down and turning them into what? Into prisons. What do they need all that for? Well, we're going to get into it. This is Operation Cable Splicer and Garden Plot are the two sub-programs which will be implemented once the Rex 84 program is initiated for its proper purpose. Garden Plot is the program to control the population. Now, you need to understand that there are over 300 million Americans. Okay, last time I checked, over 300 million Americans in America alone. Okay, that's the population, over 300 million. All right, now there was some research I was doing some time ago, and I'm not sure if the numbers have changed, but based off of what I remember, they wanted to reduce the population by 90%. Okay, so from 300 million, they want to bring it all the way down, 90% down. So we're talking about, damn near like 50 million people left or so. My math is not all the way up there. I'm horrible at math, but you know, something around those lines. Okay, very few amount of people, man. Okay, a very few amount of people. Shit, even less. It's probably less than 50 million people. Okay, probably less than 50 million people, man. It's probably going to be brought down to the thousands, if anything. Okay, but that's the plan that they have, man. They want to really depopulate this place. Okay, and they're gonna do that by what? By force. There's something called by consent or by conquest. Okay. Continuing, it says, Garden Plot is the program to control the population. Cable Splicer is a program for an orderly takeover of the state and local governments by the federal government. FEMA is the executive arm of the coming police state and thus will head up all operations. Okay. The presidential executive orders already listed on the Federal Register are also part of the legal framework for this operation. The camps all have railroad facilities as well as roads leading to and from the detention centers or the detention facilities. Now, a lot of people throughout the country have been putting out videos on how they're turning all these Walmarts, okay, into different things, FEMA camps and stuff like that. It's not just Walmarts, okay, Sears and Kmart's and all these different stores. You had a lot of store closures, Toys R Us and all that. You know, these are all big stores that are good to keep a lot of people in there, man. Okay, they're not just doing this for nothing. Number one, the economy's collapsing, so they have to prepare for that. So they got to do away with all these different stores. Okay, and number two, it's a lot of space to keep a lot of people in a time of chaos. Okay. Continuing, it says, many also have an airport nearby. Okay, the majority of the camps can house a population of 20,000 prisoners. Currently, the largest of these facilities is just outside of Fairbanks, Alaska. The Alaskan facility is a massive mental health facility and can hold approximately 2 million people. Now, you wonder why they would have a place in Alaska? Well, I just want to let you know this. Alaska is very, very cold. So if your ass ends up in a FEMA camp in Alaska, I'm sorry for you. Okay, you wish to be dead before you get to Alaska, my man. Okay. It says executive orders associated with FEMA that would suspend the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. These executive orders have been on record for nearly 30 years and could be enacted by the stroke of a presidential pen. And who's that perfect presidential pen? My man Donald Trump, man. DJ Trump. Eagle face Trump. Okay. Now, we're going to get into the executive orders, okay? And this is all to show you that the powers that be, the government that is, have set up a system where, like I said earlier, when all hell breaks loose, they have everything under control. Okay? You ain't gonna have no rights. You're gonna be quiet as a mouse. And if you refuse, you're gonna be dead. Okay? Now, Executive Order 10990. This is what it does. It allows the government to take over all modes of transportation and control of highways and seaports. Read that again. It allows the government to take over all modes of transportation. That includes your private cars. That includes the buses. That includes the trains. That includes planes. Okay? All modes of transportation. Not some modes. All modes of transportation and control of highways and seaports. Okay? So that's where you're going to have the barricades. That's where you're going to have the blockages of different roads. That's where you're going to have the bridges getting closed down. Okay? Which is all going into Second Esdras, where it talks about a man desiring to go into a city and not being able to do that. I'm going to get that precept as well. Okay? Executive Order 10995. It says it allows the government to seize and control the communication media. Okay? So we're talking about AT&T, we're talking about T-Mobile, we're talking about Sprint. All these different communication media are all going to be shut down. We're talking about Facebook, we're talking about Twitter, okay, Instagram, all these different social media platforms, man. That's all a form of communication, you know? And guess what? They're going to seize control of that, all right? And only what they want you to see is what you're going to get to see. It's happening now. Why do you think they have all these tests? For a whole day, they'll shut down everything and people are losing their minds. They're making sure that these things are ready to go in the times where they need it. Okay? Continuing, Executive Order 10997. It says it allows the government to take over all electrical power, gas, petroleum, fuels, and minerals. Okay? It allows the government to take over all electrical power, gas, petroleum, fuels, and minerals. Okay? So you having electricity in a part of the country and some people not having electricity in other parts of the country is all going to be controlled by the government. They will decide who gets electricity and who doesn't. They'll decide where the gas and the petroleum is going to. Okay? And that's all going to leading into what? The chip. Because in the time of despair and distress, a lot of people are going to be seeking some type of resolutions. And it looks like the government is going to have all the answers to your problems. Now, the ultimatum is, well, you take this chip or you die. What are people going to do? You weak-minded fucks over here. What are you going to do? You're just going to succumb to this and succumb to the pressure and crack. And guess what you're going to do? You're going to take that chip. Okay? Executive Order 10998. It allows the government to seize all means of transportation, including personal cars, or like I said earlier, okay, trucks or vehicles of any kind, and total control over all highways, seaports, and waterways. Okay, so you're not gonna have any type of personal belongings. Like I said, your Bill of Rights are gonna be suspended. So you can't say, oh, well, do you have a warrant to come into my house, sir? No, none of that's gonna be happening, man. You know, let's read that again. Executive Order 10998. It allows the government to seize all means of transportation. Okay, and especially on the East Coast, I'll give an example. New York is gonna be the worst place to be. Okay, especially if you're on the train, especially a rush hour, coming back from work or whatever it is, and then all hell breaks loose in a state of a national emergency, in a state of martial law. Oh man, people are gonna lose their minds. You know, people are gonna die before the cops even get there. You know, Executive Order 10999, it says it allows the government to take over all food resources and farms. Whoa. Let's read that again. It allows the government to take over all food resources and farms. Okay? Now, isn't that happening now? I remember a few years ago there was a battle between some farmers. I forget what state it was. I don't know if it was Dakota or somewhere around there. Montana, I'm not sure. And they were going up against the government about their farms and their animals and stuff like that. Okay, and I believe they lost the settlement or some shit because they didn't have enough money to go up against the government. I mean, come on, you know, if my memory serves me correct. But you know, these are things that the government always does. Okay, now they have an executive order. Okay, let's read it again. Executive Order 10999. It allows the government to take over all food resources and farms. So going back to what I said, how they're going to have control of all these things. And it's all going to be, when I say government, it's all going to be pushed to what? To FEMA. FEMA is going to be the government. FEMA is going to run everything. Okay, FEMA is going to run everything, and they're going to be deciding who's getting food and who's not. You know? Continues as Executive Order 11000. It allows the government to mobilize civilians into work brigades under government supervision. Okay, now let me get you the word brigade real quick. Now, before I do that, let's read that again. It says, allows the government to mobilize civilians into work brigades under government supervision. Meaning what? They're going to turn the civilians into slaves, hardcore slaves who are going to be working under supervision of the government through who? Through the martial law troops. Okay. Now a brigade, hold on, let me see if I could get that real quick in the Chambers Dictionary here. It says a brigade is a body of troops consisting of a group of regiments, okay, battalions or batteries commanded by a general officer, a band of people more or less organized for a specific purpose. Okay, it says to form into brigades, to group people together oppressively. Okay, to group people together oppressively, meaning you're going to put a certain type of pressure on certain people in order for them to do whatever you want them to do. Okay, it says allows the government to mobilize civilians, okay, into work brigades under government supervision. So that's all going to be happening. This is an executive order. Okay, Executive Order 11001 allows the government to take over all health, education, and welfare functions. You see? So, like I said, they're talking about complete and utter control when all hell breaks loose. Okay? Executive Order 11002, it designates the Postmaster General to operate a national registration of all persons. Okay? Now, the Postmaster General, it goes into what? The post office, and they'll be in charge of registering the nation's dead people. Okay, so they have different things. They have different things in place, man. The National Park Service they'll be running the refugee camps, which is these detention camps. Okay, and then the Department of Agriculture. Okay, they're gonna be in charge of distributing and rationing food. Okay, so They have these things all planned out, man. They have all these things planned out, and people who don't have the chip, because I said they're gonna collapse everything, and these executive orders are what's gonna be running this place. Okay, so if you don't have the chip, or if you don't, well, in our case, you don't have Yahweh Hashem Yahushua on your side, it's gonna be a tough time, man. Jacob's trouble is gonna be hell, and it's right at the door, man. There's a reason why the Spirit got me doing this video. It's right at the door. Okay. Let's read it again. It says Executive Order 11002 designates the Postmaster General to operate a national registration of all persons, meaning dead or alive. Okay, you're gonna be registered, man. Okay, Executive Order 11003 allows the government to take over all airports and aircraft, including commercial aircraft. Okay. Executive Order 11004. Wait, before I do that, remember a few months ago they were talking about this Boeing aircraft joint that was happening. They were crashing, and they had faults and all these different things, and they had to be shut down and all this different stuff. Guess what? These are all tests. Okay, there was a time where airports the signals were down. Okay, these are all, again, test runs. A lot of these things happen not by mistake, or, oh, there's a fault, we need to fix it. No, they ain't fixing nothing. They're not fixing a damn thing. With all the technology they have today, listen, if you believe they're fixing stuff, you're really out of your mind. They're testing. First, they're testing for the reaction of the people, and secondly, they're testing to see how these devices are going to operate when they're being pressured the most. Okay, when they're under pressure and they need to be in place and they need to be working, they're testing to see if they're all going to function properly and respond accordingly. Okay, that's why the majority of these tests be happening, man. Okay. Executive Order 11004 says allows the Housing and Finance Authority to relocate communities, build new housing with public funds, designate areas to be abandoned, and establish new locations for populations. Okay. Executive Order 11005, it allows the government to take over railroads, inland waterways, and public storage facilities. Executive Order 11051, it specifies the responsibility of the Office of Emergency Planning and gives authorization to put all executive orders into effect in times of increased international tensions and economic or financial crisis. Okay, now we are having international tensions with what's going on with Iran, what's going on with Russia, with what's going on with previously North Korea, which I feel they're gonna come right back at it again. With what's going on with even NATO. Okay, it's going to rise. China, all these different countries, man. Okay, and it says what? Economic or financial crisis, which is going to be happening very soon in America. Okay, the collapse of the dollar. Okay, and with that, you're going to have inflation because all these countries are going to be bringing their dollar over here to America, man. They're going to ship that shit right back over here. Okay, and it's going to cause a whole bunch of chaos, man. You know, you're going to have a complete amount. You're going to have bank runs. Okay, man, look, hell is coming to America, and people are not even ready or prepared as much as they should be. Okay, I'm talking about spiritually, man. Even prepared in terms of being aware that these things are in the works. People don't know. They're worried about freaking unnecessary things like Cardi B and what's the other guy? The guy, you know, all these gay people and shit, you know. Anyway, continues, says Executive Order 11310. It grants authority to the Department of Justice, which is also known as DOJ, to enforce the plans set out in executive orders, to institute industrial support, to establish judicial and legislative liaison, to control all aliens, to operate penal and correctional institutions, and to advise and assist the president. Okay, so let's run that back and slow it down, break it down. It says it grants authority to the Department of Justice to enforce the plans set out in executive orders. Okay, so everything that's set out in executive orders, the DOJ is going to have authority. Okay, and it says to institute industrial support, okay, to establish judicial and legislative liaison. Now, a liaison is basically like a unity, okay, like a unity or some type of a bond, okay, union or a bond or a conjunction of different units. So the judicial branch is a unit, and the legislative branch is a unit, and they're gonna come together. Okay, they're all gonna come together Okay, to what? To control all aliens, to operate penitentiaries and correctional institutions, and to advise and assist the government, which is going to be the executive. Okay, the president is the executive branch. Okay, so they're all going to be working together, man. They're all going to be working in tandem against the American people. Okay, continuing, it says Executive Order 11049, it assigns emergency preparedness function to federal departments and agencies, consolidating 21 operative executive orders issued over a 15-year period. Okay, Executive Order 11921, and this is long. It says it allows the Federal Emergency Preparedness Agency, which is also known as FEMA. Slack. It says Federal Emergency Preparedness Agency. I mean, damn. To develop plans to establish control over the mechanisms of production and distribution of energy sources, wages, salaries, credit, and flow of money in U.S. financial institutions in all undefined national emergency. Also, like it says, in any undefined national emergency. Okay, and guess what? We are in a national emergency, right? It also provides that when a state of emergency is declared by the president, Congress cannot review the action for 6 months. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, which is known as FEMA, has broad powers in every aspect of the nation. Okay. Wow. Okay. Continues as National Security Act of 1947. Now, before I read that, let me go back and continue this here. It says FEMA has broad powers in every aspect of the nation. General Frank Salcido, chief of FEMA's Civil Security Division, stated in a 1983 conference that he saw FEMA's role as a new frontier. This is a quote. It says, new frontier in the protection of individual and governmental leaders from assassination, and of civil and military installations from sabotage and or attack, as well as prevention of dissident groups from gaining access to U.S. opinion or a global audience in times of crisis. FEMA's powers were consolidated by President Carter to incorporate and as I'm reading, will be the National Security Act of 1947, which is what? It allows for the strategic relocation of industries, service, government, and other essential economic activities, and to rationalize the requirements for manpower, resources, and production facilities. Okay, it also says the 1950 Defense Production Act, which gives the president sweeping powers over all aspects of the economy. Okay, it also incorporates the Act of August 29, 1916, which authorizes the Secretary of the Army in time of war to take possession of any transportation system for transporting troops, material, or any other purpose related to the emergency. It also says the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, which enables the president to seize the property of a foreign country or national. These powers were transferred to FEMA in a sweeping consolidation in 1979. So all these powers were pushed over to FEMA. So FEMA has the right and the power and the authority to do all these things. Okay. Now we're gonna get into the disturbance, which is SITCON. Okay, the United States Civil Disturbance Plan 55-2. Okay. Now this goes into the plans that they have when there's a civil disobedience. In other words, uproars of the people, like you're seeing outside in different parts of the world, man. Different countries with people rioting and stuff, which personally, I believe this is all orchestrated by the elites, okay, to create civil unrest. They start off with the little people and then it catches fire and everyone gets involved, okay? It becomes a new thing because people are sheeple now. They like to follow the new crowd, okay? So that's what's happening now, and soon it's going to happen here because Americans are very docile. So they need to kick things into gear. And you know, George Soros, he's been trying that for a long time. Okay, with all these different Black Lives Matter and all these different things, it's going to be kicked into a different gear. in order for them to bring martial law, because people are not really doing anything, man. So they need to orchestrate it and start things like they show in the movie The Purge, the first Purge, okay, where in Brooklyn the people were chilling, so they had to bring mercenaries to start the whole thing, pop it off, and then people start to react. Okay, now it says the following information was obtained under freedom of. Okay, it's not important. Yeah, let's go straight to the point, man. I don't want to make this video too long. It says Operation Garden Plot, okay, which is it says under this plan for the deployment of Operation Garden Plot, the use of SITCON, which I believe is civil disturbance control operation. I'm not really sure. I was looking it up, but I couldn't find it. But just breaking it down, that's what it seems to be. But let's just get to it. It says the use of SITCON, which is CIDCON-1, will be mandatory, meaning necessary. It's going to be used. This direct support of civil disturbance control operations is to be used by the Army, USAF, which is USAF, which is also known as United States Air Force, okay, Navy, and Marine Corps, with an airlift force to be comprised of MAC, which I believe is Military Aircraft Command, okay, MAC, which is Military Aircraft Command. Okay, so let's read that again. It says, with an airlift force to be comprised of Military Aircraft Command, organic airlift resources, airlift capable aircraft of all other USAF major commands, which is United States Air Force Command, and all other aerial reconnaissance and airborne psychological operations. This is to include control communication systems, aeromedical evacuations, helicopter and weather support systems. Okay, continuing, it says, if any civil disturbance by a resistance group, okay, religious organization, or other persons considered to be nonconformist takes place under Appendix 3 to Annex B of Plan 55-2, hereby gives all federal forces total power over the situation if local and state authorities cannot put down said dissenters. Okay, and that is a prime example will be Antifa. Okay, they started popping off. Let me see if I could get that real quick. Okay, I'm not gonna read all of it. I'm just gonna touch into it. It says this was what day was this? Let's see, July 6th. Oh wow, it just happened. July 6th. This is right-wing rally triggers skirmishes with Antifa protesters as DC police work to prevent violence. So here we go. It's starting now with the whole Antifa thing. Okay, and little by little, and then it's gonna escalate. Let's read just a little bit of it. It says hundreds of DC police officers descended on the area around Washington's Freedom Plaza on Saturday, preventing anti-fascists from clashing with right-wing demonstrators during dueling rallies near the White House. Police on bicycles and on foot quickly broke up skirmishes and prevented black-clad hooded leftist anti-fascists known as Antifa from erecting barricades in streets with toppled newspaper boxes and chairs. You see what I'm talking about? Antifa demonstrators and opposing Proud Boys who fought in bloody street battles last month in Portland, Oregon, interacted at times but never fully engaged. The Proud Boys, a self-proclaimed Western chauvinist fraternal organization that promotes ending welfare and closing the borders, held the demand free speech rally to protest some right-wing activists being barred from social media sites. Okay, now I'm gonna put this in the description. So people, whoever wants to read it, you can go ahead and read it. But let's get right into this, because this stuff is a lot. Okay, so again, if any civil disturbance by a resistance group, religious organization, or other persons considered to be nonconformist takes place under Appendix 3 to Annex B of Plan 55-2, hereby gives all federal forces total power over the situation if local and state authorities cannot put down said dissenters. Okay, now Annex A, Section B of Operation Garden Plot defines tax protesters, militia groups, religious cults, and general anti-government dissenters as disruptive elements. Okay, this calls for the deadly force to be listen. This calls for the deadly force to be used against any extremist or dissident perpetrating any and all forms of civil disorder. Okay, now Antifa is the beginning of that, and it's only going to get crazier. Okay, as the summer days wears on, you're going to have a lot more of these civil disobedience stuff happening, man. All right, under Section D, and hey, listen, they could use this whole border thing to start that thing, man. Oh, you gotta let people go. You're not gonna have no concentration camps, and that could be a reason for people to start rioting. Continue, says, under Section D, a presidential executive order will authorize and direct the Secretary of Defense to use the armed forces of the United States to restore order. Okay, 2, Chap A, Appendix 1 to Annex USAF Civil Disturbance Plan 55-2, Exhibit. Okay, now there's a whole bunch of stuff now. It says, hereby provides for America's military and the National Guard State Partnership Program to join with United Nations personnel in said operations. This links selected U.S. National Guard units with the Defense Ministries of Partnership for Peace. This was done in an effort to provide military support to civil authorities in response to civil emergencies. Under presidential decision Directive number 25, this program serves to cement people to relationships between the citizens of the United States and the global military of the UN establishments of emerging democracies of Central and Eastern European countries. This puts all of our National Guardsmen under the direct jurisdiction of the United Nations. Now, we've been talking about that under martial law. You're not going to have the regular National Guard, okay, your regular police and army. Now, you're not going to have that. You're going to have people from the UN troops. Why is that? Because they don't want you to have that feeling of familiarity with those who are going to be oppressing you. That's not going to be happening. Now, you could have your regular cop. You could be like, oh, yo, I grew up with you in the neighborhood, whatever. And he's going to have sympathy on you. Oh, that's my boy I grew up with. I'm not going to shoot him, man. Come on. You giving me an order to kill this guy? I grew up with this guy. I went to school with this guy. Nah, you're not going to do that. You want to have people who have been trained to come out here and just mow you down. Okay? They're going through MK Ultra and all that stuff. They don't have any sympathy or empathy for you Americans, man. And those are the people that they're going to be bringing down here to make sure that they instill order. Okay? And it's going to be easier for them to blow off your melons, man. Okay? That's what's coming to America. Are you ready? Continues at Section 3. This plan could be implemented under any of the following situations. Situation 1. Spontaneous civil disturbances which involve large numbers of persons and or which continue for a considerable period of time may exceed the capacity of local civil law enforcement agencies to suppress. Although this type of activity can arise without warning as a result of sudden, unanticipated popular unrest, it may also result from more prolonged dissidence. All right. This would most likely be an outgrowth of serious social, political, or economic issues which divide segments of the American population. So going back to what divide and conquer. Okay, like I said, a big thing they could use is this whole detention camp shit, man. You know, they could use that as people like, oh, yo, you gotta close these things down. You can't have detention camps, all that stuff. You know, and that could cause a major uprising, man. Okay, to divide the people. Okay, it says such factionalism could manifest itself through repeated demonstrations, protest marches, and other forms of legitimate opposition, but which would have the potential for erupting into spontaneous violence with little or no warning. Now, how did they know that? How do they know something like that could happen? Because it's something they've planned. Okay, it's something that they've planned for. Okay, 1 second. All right. Continue. It says, situation 2. It says planned acts of violence or civil disobedience which, through arising from the same causes as 1, 1 or above are seized upon by a dedicated group of dissidents who plan and incite purposeful acts designed to disrupt social order. Okay, which I believe is going to be a false flag or some type of planned civil unrest. Like I said earlier about George Soros pushing for the whole Black Lives Movement stuff, Black Lives Matter movement. Okay, and those are all test runs anyway. Okay, now continuing, it says this may occur either because leaders of protest organizations intentionally induce their followers to perpetrate violent acts, or because a group of militants infiltrates an otherwise peaceful protest and seeks to divert it from its peaceful course. Whoa. Subsection C, environmental satellite products will continue to be available. Responsibilities, meteorological support to civil disturbance operations will be arranged or provided by AWS wings. I don't know what that means. The 7th Weather Wing is responsible for arranging support for military aircraft command, airlift operations. The 5th Weather Wing is responsible for supporting the United States Army Force Command. Civil disturbance may threaten or erupt at any time in the CONOS, which is CONOS stands for Continental U.S. Forces, okay, or Continental U.S., and grow to such proportions as to require the use of federal military forces to bring the situation under control. Okay, now why do you think they have all these things planned? Because they know something like this is about to happen, man. There's going to be a civil unrest in this country, and it's going to be on epic proportions, and then they're going to enact the martial law, the use of federal military forces. Okay. Continuing. Let's see. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, man. I'm gonna put this in the description as well, so that if anyone wants to read it for themselves and go in depth into it, you can go ahead and do that. If brothers want to do a video on it as well and they need the information, it's all up here, man. But through the Spirit, I wanted to bring this out to give people a warning, like it says in Ezekiel. Let me get that real quick. All right. You know what I'm saying? Give them warning from me. Okay, because we're approaching the time of Jacob's trouble, man. As a matter of fact, let me get Jacob's trouble first, and then we'll do the Ezekiel stuff. Okay, that this is what's coming to America, man, and your government has planned all these things years. I'm talking about with Rex 84. Okay, 1984, all the way out there in 1984. We're in 2019. Okay, how many years is that? A lot. So let's get this. This book of Jeremiah chapter 30 verse 7, it says, "Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it." Okay, he's talking about the elect, those who call upon the name of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua in truth and in sincerity, those who the Lord has designated to be saved, regardless of what's to come. Okay, those are the ones who are going to be saved now. But the rest of you who are not part of the Lord's sheep, you're going to die. All right. There's a book of Ezekiel chapter 3 verse 17. It says, "Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me." Okay, so this is a warning, because a lot of people are asleep to the fact that the government has planned things to use against you people, man. So our job, our duty, our responsibility as men of the Lord, as watchmen, we're supposed to give them warning, give you people warning that these are things that are coming, man. Okay, you can either take heed, okay, you can adhere, or you can forbear. It's up to you. But when the time comes, don't say we didn't tell you that these things were to come, man. Okay, we're still in a national emergency, okay, and they're still building the wall, all because they have things planned that they're going to do to you Americans when all hell breaks loose, man. Okay, so I'm gonna put this link in the description box. You know what I'm saying? People want to go read it, go ahead. But hey, this is what's coming. Okay, they have all these things planned out. All right. So I'm going to close it out here. Hopefully this was edifying to the elect. I like to say, Koholo Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, the Wadi Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And until next time, Shalom.